There was a time in my life when every day felt exactly the same. I'd wake up already tired, scroll on my phone longer than I should, feel anxious about things I couldn't control, and fall asleep feeling like nothing really moved forward. Not backward, just stuck. And that stuck feeling is dangerous because it slowly convinces you that this is just who you are now, that this is your life. No dramatic rock bottom, no big disaster, just quiet anxiety, constant worries, and the feeling that you're running in place while everyone else seems to be moving on. If you're watching this, chances are you felt something similar. The pressure to have your life figured out by a certain age, the noise, the constant comparison, the productivity culture that tells you to go all in, grind harder, change everything overnight, and somehow still be mentally okay while doing it. And when you can't do that, you don't just feel lazy, you feel broken, like there's something wrong with you. That's where I was, anxious, overthinking, worrying about the future while being disappointed with the present, wanting change, but knowing deep down that if I tried to do a massive overhaul of my life, I'd quit in a week. Because I know myself, I've done that cycle before. Big motivation, big plans, big promises, then burnout, then guilt, then back to square one. And honestly, I didn't find the solution by searching for one. I clicked a random YouTube video about Japanese discipline out of sheer curiosity. No expectations, just something to listen to while my mind was loud. And that video introduced me to a concept that didn't hype me up, didn't yell at me, didn't promise instant transformation. It introduced me to Kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese philosophy that translates to continuous improvement, but not in the way social media uses that phrase. Kaizen doesn't mean waking up at 5 a.m., running 10 miles, cutting out all pleasure and reinventing yourself in 30 days. Kaizen is about making very small improvements consistently. So small that your brain doesn't resist them. So small that you don't feel overwhelmed. So small that you actually do them. In Japan, Kaizen was never about motivation. It was about systems. Factories used it. Craftsmen lived by it. Samurai embodied it. The idea was simple. If you improve something by just 1% every day, those small changes compound into something massive over time. But here's the part most people miss. Kaizen assumes that on some days, that 1% is all you have, and that's enough. To make this more relatable, I want you to meet someone. His name is Mike. Mike is 29. He lives in a small apartment, works a regular job, and feels like he should be further along in life. He's not lazy. He's tired. He's anxious. He's overwhelmed by the idea of change, but ashamed that he hasn't changed. Every Sunday night, Mike promises himself that Monday will be different, and every Friday he feels like he failed again. Mike doesn't need another motivational speech. He's heard them all. What Mike needs is a way forward that doesn't scare his nervous system, and that's exactly what Kaizen offers. Instead of telling Mike to fix his life, Kaizen asks one question. What is one small thing you can do today that makes tomorrow slightly easier? Not impressive, not Instagram-worthy, just slightly better. For me, that question hit hard because I realized my anxiety wasn't just about fear, it was about stagnation. I felt anxious because nothing was moving, but I also wasn't moving because I was afraid to fail again. Kaizen broke that loop. I didn't wake up one day and change everything. I woke up one day and decided I wasn't going to mess around anymore with my own potential. Not by forcing myself into a huge leap, but by respecting how my system actually works. I accepted that if I pushed too hard, I'd lose interest. I'd quit. So instead, I went small, almost embarrassingly small. I started with simple things, making my bed, drinking water first thing in the morning, sitting with my thoughts for 5 minutes instead of drowning them with noise. Not because these things magically fix your life, but because they build trust with yourself. And when you've been anxious and worried for a long time, trust in yourself is usually what's missing. Mike does the same. He doesn't suddenly become disciplined. He just stops making promises he can't keep. He sets the bar low enough that he actually steps over it. And something interesting happens. The anxiety doesn't disappear, but it softens. Because for the first time in a long time, his actions and his words start aligning. Kaizen isn't exciting, and that's why it works. It doesn't rely on motivation, which is unreliable. It relies on repetition, and repetition rewires the brain. One of the biggest lies we're told, especially in the US, is that change has to be dramatic to be real. But in reality, dramatic change rarely lasts. Small change does, because small change doesn't trigger fear. It doesn't activate that part of your brain that says, "This is too much, abort mission." When I discovered Kaizen, something shifted. I stopped asking, "How do I fix my life?" and started asking, "What's the smallest responsible step I can take today?" And that question changed everything. One of those small steps was creating content like this, not because I thought it would blow up, not because I had a master plan, but because I found myself genuinely interested. I realized that learning about discipline, philosophy, and mindset wasn't just helping me, it was grounding me. And instead of consuming endlessly, I decided to create, slowly, imperfectly, one video at a time. Mike does something similar. Maybe for him it's walking 10 minutes after work. Maybe it's reading 2 pages of a book. Maybe it's writing 1 paragraph. The point is, it's doable. And because it's doable, it gets done. And because it gets done, it builds momentum. Kaizen teaches something deeply important. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And systems are built through small, repeatable actions. There's also a mental health aspect to this that doesn't get talked about enough. When you're anxious or depressed, your brain is already exhausted. Throwing massive goals at it is like asking someone with a broken leg to sprint. Kaizen respects your current capacity without letting you stay stuck. This is why Kaizen works where motivation fails. Motivation asks, "Do you feel like it?" Kaizen asks, "What can you do even if you don't?" Over time, those small actions change your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who can't stick to anything. You start seeing yourself as someone who shows up. And that shift is powerful. Mike doesn't become a different person overnight. But 6 months later, his life looks different. Not because of one big moment, but because of hundreds of small ones. He's calmer, more confident, more grounded, and most importantly, he trusts himself again. For me, the anxiety didn't magically vanish. I still worry sometimes. I still overthink. But now I have a way forward. When my mind spirals, I don't panic. I return to small actions. I return to Kaizen. And maybe that's why you clicked this video. Out of curiosity. Maybe you're not looking for a miracle. Maybe you're just tired of feeling stuck. If that's you, I want you to know something. You don't need to become someone else. You don't need to leap. You need to step. Kaizen isn't flashy, but it's real. It's grounded, and it works because it aligns with how humans actually change. If you take anything from this video, let it be this. Stop waiting for the day you feel ready. Stop waiting for motivation. Pick one small thing today. Something so small you almost dismiss it, and do it fully. Then do it again tomorrow. That's how anxiety loosens its grip. That's how momentum starts. That's how change actually happens. And that's how this channel exists, one small step at a time. If this resonated with you, you're not alone. And if you're starting small today, you're already moving forward.